Happy New Year's, lads. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so hyped for 2024. Fingers crossed it's going to bring big things for us and we can stay on our grind. So I hope you guys did have a good time over the holidays, got to spend it with your friends and family, got a ton of cool gifts, whatever else. So in today's video, something special, the first one of the year. We're actually coming back to a previous video I did, and shout out to LM Sports Bro Edits and Mag Dedicated on one of my older videos. And of course, I'm talking about my NBL 2K23 rebuild video. So in today's video, I have actually something special for you guys, a little New Year's treat. I have finished off a pretty much perfect my scenario on my NBA, which allows you to play NBL 2K24. So today I'm going to show you how to get it, and let's just see how it looks. So we're here on the main menu for a change. I don't think I've ever done a video starting on here, but what I want you guys to do is go down to your My NBA eras here, and then if you go over to 2K share setups and scenarios, and then you go down to my 2K share scenarios, you can see I already have one right here, but I will go ahead and show you guys how to do it from scratch. So when you boot this up, it's going to have a list of quote unquote the hot files. That's not actually accurate, at least in relation to the share setup. It is on some of the other screens, like the players. But in my files, I've already got it here, so I've done 5 updates, you can see. But the name is going to be NBL 2024, and then my gamer tag is Veliki Maimun, which is Serbian. If you don't know, I'm half Serbian. That is Serbian for Big Monkey, which is just a little bit of an inside joke. So description up here, I went NBL 24 100%. So if you are on your Xbox or PlayStation, whatever it is, cross-platform, all you do is press Y or triangle. You can either search for my gamer tag, which you can go back and pause. It was also at the start of the video. Or you can just go by content name. For this one, we will go by my gamer tag. So we go like this, just so you don't have to filter through all of the other save states. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then you can see right here, 5 updates. So then once you load into that, it'll bring you to the screen here. I have all teams selected, and it is currently on the Adelaide 36ers. Now, we'll preface this by saying shout out to whoever made the initial file. So I did download this off the share, and I've just gone ahead and updated it with extra players and perfected everything. So this is all good to go now. Now, unfortunately, as the save was when I first got it, they've already simulated a couple of games. So shout out to whoever made this, and if it is you, feel free to comment down below. Happy to give you a shout out. Just can't remember the name off the top of my head. So the cool thing is, in the last video we did, there was actually 2 extra teams that just didn't have any purpose because you have to have a minimum of 12. But you can see here, we've actually got a couple of expansion teams. It's pretty low effort and not original, but shout out to them for doing this. So you got Sydney Celtics. Now what I've done is you have a full team of roster fillers because they shouldn't exist, at least for this season. Those guys are all 40 years old as well. And then over on the other side here, we have the Canberra U Rams. So another team just full of 40 overalls. So they should all retire. And then what I've also done is, if we go to the prospect scouting, I've loaded in one of the top rated draft classes, which isn't current NBA prospects, but it is like a top 100 fictional player draft. So it's pretty in depth. You can also, of course, load in the NBA drafts. It doesn't matter too much. It's your save. Yeah, so first and foremost, I made Bryce Cotton a 93 overall. I read a couple of articles just to familiarize myself a bit more, and a lot of them were saying he is pretty much the best player in the NBL. It's not that close, so we just went and raised him. I think he was at a 90 as well. Fixed up some of the positions here. So I'll just walk you through the teams here. You have the 36ers, whose best player is currently Dayan. And then we also have a few roster filler guys. So essentially for every team, I made sure they had at least a 10-man rotation, because realistically, you're not going to play 11 through 13 anyway. Some of them do have more, so just something to keep in mind. Got New Zealand here, whose best player is Will McDowell White. They also have Anthony Lamb. Shout out Anthony Lamb. And then they have 2 roster fillers, so you can see their roster slightly bigger. Brisbane here with Sobey, Baines, and White. And then, of course, Sydney Celtics, who have all 40s. Illawarra Hawks here with Tyler Harvey. Tasmania, whose best player is Milton Doyle. Now we get over to the Sydney Kings. So it is worth mentioning, I actually went through and made a couple of custom players who were missing from the roster. So I did this DJ Hog here, and at the end of the video, I'll also show you I've exported all their player DNA. So if you want any of those guys, you can go ahead and download them. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. So they have Tyler Cook, Mitch Creek, Alan Williams. A couple guys I did actually create, probably most of them on this team. So Gary Brown here, he's a 78. Abdel Nader, who I was surprised isn't still in 2K. I mean, I know he hasn't been in the league, but no leftover files really. So I went through and made him. I put him at a 71 just because from what I can tell, he's been really bad, even in the NBL this season. I think he's been injured. So that's why he's there. Canberra as well, full of 40s. Cairns, whose best player is Gak, followed by Cole. Melbourne United with Delhi, of course. And I did actually have to create Joe Luala-Chul, who I was surprised wasn't in there, but I made him an 88. So I think that is deserved. And you've got Perth, obviously, with Bryce Cotton, Keanu Pinder, Jordan Usher. This is going to be the team to beat. Corey Webster, Alex Sarr as well. So that's exciting for any Americans watching. He's currently in our NBL. And then I also created Jesse Wagstaff for this team. He's 37, but they just needed an extra player to get to 10. So he is here. And then we're back to all players. Now, there is actually a couple guys here in free agency too. So John Wall, originally they had a bunch of NBA players on those expansion teams. I pretty much turned them all into roster fillers, except John Wall, who I put back up to an 85 and I released him to free agency. Now, when you start this save, this is totally up to you. You can just lower him by going start and then you scroll over here, you press X or A a couple times and you just hold the right stick down till he's a 40. But I did that because I saw an interview where he was saying he might actually end up playing with Melbourne, you know, part owner and all that, or he might even be sole or majority, I'm not too sure, but definitely an owner. So you can go ahead and sign him to there for a bit of fun. Otherwise, yeah, just drop him to a 40 and then he'll pretty much retire at the end of the year. Will Cummings, who I initially had as well on the team, but then I looked up and apparently there was some off the court stuff, so they let him go. I'm out of tune, I guess. He is in free agency anyway, so you can do the same thing with him, lower him, or you can say another team picked him up. And then unfortunately, we can't get rid of these guys. This is your standard, you know, NBA bums, I guess, and G League guys. No disrespect to anyone here. So they should all retire fairly quickly too, or if not, I guess Canberra signs them. I don't know. But that is your free agents. And then another guy I forgot to mention is Hwang Jung Lee, who was actually pretty fun to make. He's just sort of a knockdown shooter, so his badges reflect that. And so that is your NBL 2K24, how to play NBL 2K24 and NBA 2K24. So you can see, obviously it's a much shorter season because it is the NBL. And then after that, you get to playoffs and it pretty much will play out like a standard 2K save. As I said, it's pretty much 100% perfect. The only things I couldn't work out, obviously, is to go back and unsim the games that have been simmed already. But I guess if you wanted to do a start today, you could go through force wins and losses for every team. I might actually do that in the future, so I'll let you guys know. And then the other thing is my stuff. I couldn't put real coaches in, unfortunately, so you're going to have NBA coaches. I think that is something you have to do in a roster, not in a My NBA save. That is something I will look into in the future also. So yeah, just a quick video. I think my next video, I will probably just do a rebuild with the worst team in the NBL. And we'll see how that goes. Now, one thing I do like is, if you remember in the first video, everyone had super low overalls, and that seems to be a theme. A lot of people who create NBL rosters seem to scale them down to if they're in the NBA, like 70s and all that sort of stuff. To me, that's really boring, and I don't see why you would want to do any of that. I do actually really appreciate how they have these guys ranked, how they would be in their own league. So these guys are 90s, etc. I made John Wall an 85 because I think if he played in that league, he'd still be pretty damn good. So yeah, outside of that, I mean, I think the overalls look really good. Shout out to, again, the guy who made the initial save before I modified it. So if that is you, feel free to comment down below. Definitely happy to give you a shout out if you see this. I doubt you will see it, but shout out to you. I really appreciate you. So then the last thing I just wanted to show you was all the guys I have actually created as player DNA. So you can just go into create new player. It'll give you a random guy. And then we go over here. I'll just show you in my files. So it's the same way. You would hit Y and you can search for my gamer tag, or you can search for the name. So we've got Hwang Jung Lee, DJ Hogg, Will Cummings, the roster filler player, Gary Brown, Abdul Nader, Jesse Wagstaff, Joe Luala-Chul. And then you've got all of the uploaded guys here as well. There you can see right there, it's as easy as searching that name, or you can search my gamer tag once again. Hey, just here post editing, I just wanted to also point out, if you wanted to do it differently, you could go into create roster, and then you could just load in an NBL roster and then add in the players I'd created. Now this is a different way to do it. You would then essentially load in a standard My NBA eras, and then you can go into the option when you set it up. You'll just have to make sure you check custom roster on this start screen here, as well as customize league, which will let you do the realignment and move teams around and delete other unwanted teams. So just remember, when using the create roster screen, if you are searching for it, it requires 4 characters. So you can just type in NBL and then a space. That's what I would generally do. And then also I'm just going to use the official 2K one here just for the sake of being a bit quicker. Here, when you go to create, you can actually scroll through the My Staff as well. This is also how you would be able to create authentic coaches. Essentially, you just got to go through all the G League teams, and any of these bold character coaches here, You can then edit, you can change their appearance and their name. So for example, I could name him Scott Roth and then just find a preset that matches, or alternatively, I can go and create my own. You could then release him from this team so he's in the pool, and then assign him to that other team, which is a fair bit of work. And I might end up doing that if I ever end up creating a custom roster of my own. So just something to keep in mind. So yeah, as I said, hopefully you guys did have a great new year, and thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys again for the rest of the year. So I think next video I will try and do a rebuild in the NBL here, and then after that I'm going to continue my 2 running series. So if you guys did enjoy, like and a comment would be super appreciated. A subscribe too, it's up to you. It's free, but I don't mind either way. It's totally up to you. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, peace out.